One of the major reasons why I keep to myself is because it's part of the job. And I know a lot of people in this world lack emotional intelligence to understand what I'm talking about. So let me break it down. Shout out to somebody on TikTok. I forgot who you are. I know you sent me a YouTube link when I was in Portugal, when I was in Lisbon, about a YouTube video about a pastor preacher that's talking about how a lot of preachers, or people who do the kind of work I'm doing, people who speak truth to power, live a very lonely life. And that video basically confirmed a whole lot of things that that's been going through my mind and things that I've eventually over the years have understood. It took me a while to understand these things because I've never had a role model, but God Almighty has given me the discernment to play all these games to kind of pigeonhole me into like, Uche, just stay in your lane. The good news for me is that being on my own comes very natural to me. Like I'm on my own because that's my happy place. That's where what I prefer. Like I'm a real, true, extreme introvert. Like I could be in my home a whole week by myself, not a problem. Even though this world tries to tell me that there's something wrong with me, it's always been like that since I was a kid. This has nothing to do with trauma. I be on my own. Even my grandma knew this. I think I was like what 5 years old or 6 years old when she gave me my own room. I had my own room because she always used to say, "Nongwa, que ya friche, konye kanane ya friche." She always saw that. I just like my solitude. That is my happy place. So interacting with people is a lot of work, a lot of energy, and that's a gift. That's one of the things that has I have realized, that has made me see one of the many things that this I'm meant to be doing this. Like also including my voice, for example. A lot of people compliment me for my voice. Thank you. I really do appreciate it, but I don't hear it. I don't hear it, and I've also made peace with the fact that I don't hear the voice because I'm not meant to hear it because I feel like if I was to hear the voice that y'all hear and I like it, my ego will hold on to it. And as a result, my audience hears it because it's more so a gift for my audience and not necessarily for me. So I do appreciate that. But I have to be honest. I keep to myself because first of all, a lot of these niggas out here don't fuck with me. That's just me being honest. It's always been like that all of my life. My mentality there is very different. The way I think is very different. The way I carry myself is very different. Not because I think I'm better than anyone, but a lot of people have always accused me of that. I've always maintained that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, meaning that this world is not my home. And as a result of me believing that this world is not my home, there's nothing in this world that I need to hold on to. I am just a visitor here. So why would I travel all the way here to do nothing, to not be Uche? I'm a be Uche 100%. And I see a lot of people in this world are scared to be themselves, which is fine. I understand that. And I do recognize that I do have some privileges, some of which I was born with. I'm grateful that I was born into the family that I was born into, a family that has connection to the West, to America, and things like that. I'm aware of it. So some of the privilege that I have today, I have worked hard for, because I wasn't born with some of these privileges. I've worked my ass off, and I do understand all those things, and I'm grateful for it. But these are gifts and blessings that God has given me to be Uche. Why the fuck would I be scared to be Uche when God's divine power has given me everything that I need for me to accomplish me doing me? It makes no sense. And in alignment with me doing me, that automatically irritates people's demons. And I'm also used to that as well. So there's no need for me to need to belittle myself, lower myself for somebody else's pleasure, if you want to call it that, knowing that I am on borrowed time, I will inevitably leave this place. And secondly, my sexuality is also something that apparently a lot of people like to wear on top of their head, like we thank God. I am not a closet case. I've never been a closet case. I've never been DL. And I've talked about how you don't have to come out to anyone. Your sexuality is between you and the person you're doing whatever it is that you're doing that thing with. Be pragmatic, be realistic, and things like that. But I'm not ashamed of myself. Yes, I don't talk about all of me to everybody because you don't need to know shit about me, okay? Like, I'm a very private person, but I'm not ashamed of who I am. I am a queer man, a same gender loving man who has attractions, physical and sexual and emotional and spiritual attraction for other men. That is the truth. This world wants me to lie about that, to pretend. Just like I see a lot of black people, including my African, Nigerian people, who wish they were white so bad, yeah. But that's a whole nother conversation because this world tells you to be anything but yourself. I say fuck that. I'm not doing that. And it is what it is. I like to think that I don't rub my sexuality in people's faces, my not even forget about the sexuality, the blackness, the entire Ucheness. I don't rub it on people's faces. I just refuse to settle. And I know that that triggers a lot of people. Also, considering the fact that I currently live in Africa, don't forget that, okay? I live in Ghana, Accra, Ghana. Before that, I lived in Texas, lived in California, and a whole bunch of other places. I also lived in Germany at some point. Now that I'm doing content creation, a lot of my videos are going viral in Africa, in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, in Lagos. And sometimes I literally forget that my face is on the internet because then I'm reminded that people see me. Like I go out to the mall, I'm at the gym, I go to places and people recognize me, like they see my face. And I know that a lot of the things that I talk about are very triggering to them. I'm just lucky that Ghanaians are not as, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs like Nigerians, Chad. No shade, but I'm being blunt. But they see my contents. A lot of them see that I'm also a queer person, a very open-minded queer person. Sorry, open with my sexuality and things like that. A lot of these people don't fuck with me. I have to protect myself. Of course, more than likely, they're not going to, be doing whatever it is that they got going on. Like I'm trying to be careful with my words, Shaq, because these algorithms. But at the same time, too, I have to assume that I'm alone. I am alone in this thing because there is no community, there's no love in this shit, there's no empathy, there's nothing. If I fall, I walk such a fine line. I have to walk such a fine line here, not just because I'm in Africa, but because eyes are on me. There is no grace if I fall. If I fall, even though I'm human, even though I like to think that through God Almighty who strengthens me, I have branded myself as human. I have been vocal about my all of my life, child. Like I've mentioned before, if the FBI wanted to do some type of investigation on me, they ain't got to try too hard, child. Because I don't spill all my tea online. YouTube, Anchor, Spotify. You know what I'm saying? TikTok. What's it called? Instagram. Everything. All my tea is online. Everything about my family. Everything about my personal, my mental health. All of that is online. All of that is online. I have done my best through God Almighty who strengthens me to humanize myself. I don't think I've seen any Igbo speaking Nigerian who was born and raised in Nigeria as vulnerable as I am. I'm putting all that out there. I have humanized myself. I've done my best to humanize myself. But even at that, I know some people are watching me. Some people pedestalize me. Some people do the complete opposite of pedestalizing me, which is, indicative of the polarity nature of this place. If I slip from that, even though I have been honest about being human, who is fallible, who can slip at any moment. If I slip from that, there are people waiting to slander me. I've seen this shit happen in Texas, even before Texas. I've seen this happen so many times where people will hear some fuck shit about me and child, when I tell you, that's the bakute, they will just gada. The way these people will talk about me and chinekele lulule. It used to give me goosebumps in the past. It used to bother me in the past, but child, thank God Almighty for thick skin, been there, done that. And as a result, I've just added that to my knowledge of being myself and like, you know what, this is just part of the job, just keep to yourself. This is one of the reasons why I keep to myself. One, it is very natural for me, but also two, because of the nature of the work that I'm doing. It is not safe for someone like me. There's eyes on me. There are people who are waiting for me to fail, to fall, and there are people waiting for me, waiting to, and I know that if I do fall, these people will not give me any grace because there's no grace, there's no empathy in this world, okay? Which is why I don't look at anyone at all because I know my grace comes from Christ, okay? And I don't want to sound too churchy here, but it's true. My grace comes from my creator, the one who has no polarity. That's why I don't look at people. And as a result, I abide by the least action principle. I've talked about that a couple of times on my page. Check it out on the old videos. Least action principle using quantum physics. That is what I abide by. And my least action principle is to just do what comes natural to me. Sit my ass at home and drink my tap water. Knowing that when I fall out there, there's a lot of straight dudes that think that the reason why I'm being nice to them is because I'm trying to get in their pants. That is very condescending, very dehumanizing, but I do understand I give grace. It's still very painful. There's a lot of Chad. The list, I'm not trying to make this video too long, but you get my point. But this is one of the many reasons why I keep to myself. I'm grateful to God Almighty that God has made me an introvert. But this is part of the work that I'm here to do. This is part of the Uche journey. And if you love me as you claim, you will understand it, you will respect it, because there are only two options for people who truly love me. Help me build this arc, or you steer clear and let me do this as God has intended me to do. That's it. Uche, peace and love.